Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Send in the Clowns, your one and only recap show and, of course, screaming forum for American Horror Story Cult. As always, I am Sarah, and with me is the wonderful Clinton, who watches the show with me every week.
Yes, I do, ladies and gentlemen, and you're in for a doozy here.
Oh boy! Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Clinton. Let's just take a deep breath because there's a lot to discuss. If you haven't had a chance to watch the episode, if you're avoiding it for, I'm sure there are several reasons why. If you're personally affected by a shooting and you wanted to skip this episode because, which I think was a really classy move on FX's part to be like, hey, just so you know, this is what's happening. We cut some stuff out. And you're just tuning in to see what happened. This episode got real crazy.
Also, I want to say for those of you that are going to catch it on demand, if you are you still traumatized or you're still dealing with it, please do not watch the on-demand version because the on-demand version has the additional 60 seconds of uncut, the 60 seconds of cut footage that did not air on FX itself. I presume that the concurrent showings on FX will have the 60 seconds cut, but if you are on FX now, FX Plus, or any of the other FX, video on demand stuff, they will have that extra 60 seconds of footage.
So that's just a quick warning for you, and we will be talking about the events of the show. So if that's something that you think you can't deal with, honestly, just tune in next week. Don't do that. Clinton, why don't you tell me in about, I don't know, give me 7 words. How do you feel about this episode?
This is the face of true love.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
I'm sorry. Yo, son, that line had me so fucked up because, I'm going to be honest with you, man. We were sitting down there, I think, for the last 2 episodes going back and forth about Meadows' involvement in this. Sarah and I were like, is she in the cult? Is she not in the cult? Is she a spoiler? Is she not a spoiler? What's good? What's going on? And damn. Yeah. If this didn't confirm it, I mean, I'm gonna put it in fighting game terms for you guys. It hit me with the meanest mix up, and as I was trying to get up for the Okazemi, he got me with that Okazemi, and I was like, "Yo, I can't block. I'm gonna get that touch of death, and I'm gonna get perfect there. 7 golden letters." So, yeah. I was gonna I couldn't deal with it. You should have seen my comments on Twitter. I couldn't deal. It was crazy.
You could not deal with it, and that is I feel like that's how a lot of people took it.
What about your 7 words?
Probably we are the all singing, all dancing crap of the world, which is a Fight Club reference for those of you who are like, why they didn't say that.
Sarah, hold on. Rule 1 of Fight Club: never talk about Fight Club. Exactly.
All right, so what I want. Technically, that book, everyone takes that to be like, reclaim your masculinity through fighting, when actually it's this guy being like, no. In fact, that is some good shit. Don't fucking do that. Literally, this whole book is about how that whole thing just falls right the fuck apart. But leaving that, because that's a subject we'll have to tackle another time, it definitely felt like this is all some sort of fucking show, within a show, where it's just the fucking twists, man. The twists and the turns.
Shouts out to M. Night Shyamalan. What a twist!
Shamalama ding dong. He's just he's just there. He's hiding. He's the secret. He's like a uncredited writer in this season.
Or Ryan Murphy's Nom de Guerre.
Nom de Plume.
I said war name, but yes, pen name is better.
Yeah, pen name. I mean, he's not trying to murder people that we know of.
Yo, nom de plume.
Nom de plume. But yeah, so this is definitely episode that is really just taken. We thought that levels had been reached, but levels had not been reached, man. Levels have escalated.
So let's flip the script a little bit. Typically, I would be given the recaps, but Sarah, in her infinite wisdom and excitement for this show, would like to give the recaps herself. So, Sarah, I'm kicking it over to you. Give us the recap.
Okay.
Of Midwestern Assassin.
Yes, we're gonna do our best to remember names, but it's not gonna happen. So Clinton's gonna assist on this one. Yes. So basically, we open with a shot of Ivy at a rally in which Kai is speaking to a crowd. When shots are fired, she goes running, and then as she hides and the cops come in, it's ultimately revealed that the shooter might be our dear friend Allison, has probably lost her mind, but the show says, up, let's go back there and go back to where we left off last episode with Meadow banging on the window and begging Allison to let her in. Now, we weren't sure where this was going to go. Because honestly, how can you tell with Meadow? Meadow is weird. So, Meadow, Allison doesn't listen because Allison is just like, not for this shit. She calls Ivy, right? Right before, in the last episode, she calls Ivy. Then Meadow says Ivy's in the cult. And so Allison hangs up. She calls Rudy, her therapist. And he's like, you need to stop. Ivy's worried. Well, actually, he calls her, that's right. Ivy's worried. Your delusions are getting worse. But she's just like, not fucking having it. So after Meadow gets taken away from the window by a mysterious person, Allison grabs her mace and knife and goes to find Meadow. She finds Harrison and his silver-haired police boy toy,
Jake Samuels,
having some consensual fun. At least I hope it is.
I mean, they're in an affair, so it's technically an affair. So they were enjoying themselves, and yeah, they were doing things.
Steals the keys, and she gets into the room where Meadow is, frees her with a knife just before Harrison and what's his name?
Samuels kick in the door, waving the 4-4.
I'm just gonna call him Silver Fox now.
Go ahead. Silver hair.
They literally gave him no backstory, so I don't give a shit. Yeah. She maces Harrison. They run back to her house, and to get into her car, and they drive off. Meadow tells Allison everything, right? She tells her how Kai chooses him. She tells her how she became disillusioned with the cult, which is she started having feelings for Kai.
Mm-hmm.
And then she felt betrayed when she saw Kai giving the same speech about becoming a queen bee and breaking out of her shell to Ivy that he had said to her.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of loses her shit and essentially tells Silver Fox and Harrison that they're both idiots, that, Kai is just using them, that, how stupid is Kai? No one ever took over the world from like a zoning board. And that's when she gets tied up and is supposedly going to be killed, and we see Kai telling her that she is nothing, and then we cut away back to the present where Allison is like, holy shit.
The best part about it is, right, so like Allie's like, yo, why would Ivy try to make me nuts?
Yeah.
And she's like, bruh, maybe she just hates you.
Yeah.
The most poignant to the point line ever. And it's like, duh.
Maybe she secretly hates you. It does happen. So that's also interesting because we do get a look into Ivy's motivations, and Ivy's motivation, it wasn't just like the phobias. Where it really stems from, because we see her session with Kai finally, her real motivation is that Allie. We actually thought that Ozymandias looked so much more like Ivy, was carried by Ivy, but it turns out he was carried by Allie. And was super jealous that she couldn't carry the baby because she has endometriosis, if I remember correctly.
Yes, endometriosis.
Endometriosis.
Yeah. Yes, that's what she has. For those of you that don't know what endometriosis is, it is a disorder where the tissue that normally lines the uterus grows outside of the uterus.
Very painful.
Yes.
And it means you can't have kids. So,
yes.
And then Allison at an early point refers to Ozzy as her baby. Well, and that sort of makes Ivy snap a little bit.
But can I stop right there for a minute?
Yeah,
I mean, technically it is Allie's baby. Like, biologically, Ivy has nothing in this kid. Unless it was a relative of hers that donated whatever they donated the sperm. Allie is right. It's my baby. Like,
or unless they planted one of Ivy's eggs in Allie's uterus.
Right.
That goes to the whole thing of like, whose baby then is it? Because it's Ivy's egg, but
technically it is Ivy's baby at that point. Then right?
It's very confusing. Basically, Allie acts like because she delivered the baby, it's her baby.
Right, but at the same time, let's go with the assumption that it was one of Allison's eggs, and just go with that because that's all we know at this point. We don't really know what the origin is. We just know that this is what happened. Granted, Allie's like, look, this is my baby. I don't want to put formula in the kid. And that's within the mother's right.
Yeah.
Not to. Because she carried the kid.
I mean, this idea that, like, she's not saying, like, it's my baby because it's only hers. What she's saying is that, like, my child, as in my perspective on how we should upbring this child, should not have this. And so I think she just, like, her insecurities about not being able to have the kid sort of blew it out of proportion for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where that whole now it's just like, I mean, it makes sense, right? It does make sense why she's so angry at Allie then. But anyway, back to the story at hand. So Allie watches a debate that's happening between Kai and the other person running for the zoning board position, when a mysterious woman, her name is
Sally, and I had the name in my head too, which is hilarious. It's Sally
Berkowitz. I don't know.
Sally Berkowitz. Wow, I'm done. I'm 100% done. But keep talking. I'll get the name.
Yeah. So Sally basically says, "You're full of shit. This is how."
Sally Keffler. Yes.
What's her name?
Sally Keffler, played by Mare Willingham, I believe her name is.
Baller. Anyway, so Sally's basically
what?
Kai.
Mare Willingham, I believe her name is. Yes.
It's all good. They can look it up. They've got fingers.
Yes.
Unless you don't have fingers, in which case I apologize, listener.
But okay, Google is a thing.
You can voice activate Google. But anyway, so Sally basically tells Kai that he's full of shit and that, will not stand for it, and she's going to write a letter of intent to the election board and is like, I'm going to run against you. Which, of course, Kai does not like.
You saw it on his face. He's like, oh, shit. What?
Like, oh, no.
Like, she has to die.
So Allison's like, holy shit, this lady. Because, Meadow's basically been like, yeah, listen, only way to defeat Kai is to kill him. And she's like, nope, we're gonna do this a different way. So she leaves Meadow with Rudy, and like, she's like, take care of her, don't let her leave, like, she has all the proof that this is a cult, blah blah blah. And she runs over to Sally's house and sits her down and explains everything, right?
She just basically says, here's everything, I just want you to know this is a thing. Just let you know.
Yeah, and Sally is not surprised, and she says something along the lines of, like, I've seen everything, I went to Berkeley. Like, damn, girl. But just as she is getting Allie on her side, the clowns enter to murder everyone. Allie goes running to hide in the bathroom while they attack Sally and hold her down. She first gets out a gun, but one sneaks up behind her, which sucks because I was just like, they're in your home. Shoot them. Shoot them. Shoot. Come on. Nope, never happens. Anyway. So they get her down. Kai writes basically a suicide note on her Facebook.
Yo, the line was so good. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Do you want to relate the line?
The line was so good when he was doing it. I'm sorry. You just like sparked it in my head, and it was like, nobody's gonna believe that. Yeah, they will.
Of course they do. It's on Facebook. Yeah.
And I sat there, I'm like, he's not wrong.
The line. Literally, because then they shoot her in the face. Ivy in a mask, of course, finds Allison in the bathroom, and Allison looks at her and goes, Ivy? Because clearly she knows what Ivy's body looks like, and is just like, yep, that's my wife. But before Ivy can do or say or whatever, anything, I calls her back, and they leave the house. Of course, Allie then leaves to go back to Rudy to find that Meadow has disappeared, which, she gets hysterical over. She's like, how could you let her go? And at first you think, like, oh no, Rudy did something to Meadow. Like, she's dead. Because really, we know that he's, like, head of cult. We don't know if Meadow knows that he's, like, the real power here, but...
Oh, we're also assuming that he is the real power. So it's like... True.
We make assumptions. But anyway, So the whole thing... So then she realizes that the way to find Meadow is to go to the rally. So she goes to the rally, and she finds Meadow. And actually, before this happens, we see the rest of what happens. I mean, Meadow being told that she's nothing by Kai, and then finally getting to Allie and smashing on her window.
Yes.
So what happened was Kai basically told her that everything she said was correct, that, they need to get a new national stage and he has a plan to do it. And while he does it, he proceeds to have sex with her, which is what she's always wanted. So basically, he's like, what you're going to do is you're going to tell Allison everything, you're going to tell her the truth, and then, essentially formulates this plan in which they don't really say exactly, but like you sort of get, is that she is going to shoot him in the leg, or she's going to shoot him non-fatally so that he can get national attention.
Yes.
And then she'll have to kill herself, and he says, it's like the eternal bond, this will keep us together forever. And because she's so love-starved and sexually starved, and just this poor woman is just like madness incarnate at this point, she's like, yeah, okay, this I will do for you. And so we see her shoot a woman who's standing in front of Kai. She shoots Kai in the upper leg. She begins to shoot other people while Allison begs her to stop. Finally, as the police arrive, she turns the gun on herself and says, this is the face of true love. Allison grabs the gun, and then Allison is summarily arrested by the police. And Kai is taken out on a stretcher, which when he wakes up and realizes what has happened, smiles, and that is how we end Midwestern Assassin. One hell of an episode, guys.
It's a lot of packed stuff now.
And the turns, a lot of tension, a lot of, and in the end, thought Meadow was going to escape, thought Meadow was going to be the smart one, but, nope.
She let the sex think for her.
Yeah, well, poor thing.
I mean, granted, Kai knows how to take advantage of somebody. Honestly, you sit down there, and a lot of people are considering that, Harrison is just as bad as Ivy in this case.
Yeah.
I say, no, Harrison isn't a bad person. He's just stupid. There's a difference.
Everybody on the show is kind of stupid.
No, Ivy knows what she's doing. She has empathy, and you can tell she has empathy. She's a bad person because she's like, I'm letting my own personal fucking feelings get in the way. I hate my wife. Fuck this. Excuse my language. Fuck this bitch. And, you know what? I want Ozzy. My jealousy. It is my jealousy and my, disgusting, decaying humanity that won't allow me to let this minor bullshit go.
Yep.
That is driving me to that is driving me to make Allison crazy so I can take Oz for myself. I'm going to put it out there. As much as we know Allison has mental issues, I can say verifiably Ivy has it worse.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Ivy is definitely dealing with a lot of repressed anger, at the very least. At the most, she's probably suffering from dissociative identity disorder.
Mm-hmm.
She is an interesting buddy. But yeah, she's definitely, or she's a sociopath. Either way, there are problems.
Well, I mean, she doesn't have a sense of humor. Usually sociopaths don't. And you can tell that she doesn't necessarily have a sense of humor. You know what I mean? But again, she does get sickened by murder and shit like that. So yeah, the sociopath, when it could be...
You can have sociopathic tendencies, just not be a full-blown sociopath.
Exactly. Right. She's not at that point yet.
Well, I mean, no, you're a sociopath. You're like, it's a thing by the time you're 13.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You're going to be a sociopath. She's a sociopath. But yes, so basically there are a lot of problems. Ivy definitely has, everybody really has their problems on this show. I don't think anybody is of sound mind per se.
Can I be honest? It makes it seem like Allie is actually the most sane person there. Like,
comparatively,
legit.
I would agree. But I definitely think Allie has problems that, like, she's just like, I can't.
Well, that we know. I'm just saying, in terms of everybody else, there is that idea of where she's actually the most sane person there. You look at it like this, where Meadow has gotten manipulated to the point where it's like, I can officially say, okay, I'm going to go along with this plan. And it's like, I think, like, she's fallen so much in love with Kai that she's willing to kill herself. Mm-hmm. Now, granted...
And kill others, too. Let's not forget.
Exactly, kill others.
She shoots at people.
Yeah. So the way I see it is that... And I was talking on Reddit after the show ended and really was talking... People were mentioning that, Allie's not going to get off. I said, no. If we look into forensics... Remember, in a traumatic event, the human mind is not reliable because they warp the event. Forensics will definitely, if you actively take a look at everything, Allie's fingers never touch the trigger.
Yeah, they never touch the trigger.
They never touch the trigger, so you can easily rule that out the minute that you see. And Meadow wasn't wearing gloves.
Yeah, Meadow was not wearing gloves.
So
and it's going to look real suspicious that she somehow, like she shot herself through the mouth, through the back of the head. Like, that is a clear suicide shot.
Exactly. Like,
who would be running towards, a shooter?
If you're going to execute somebody, you're popping them in the head. You're not popping them through the mouth.
Yeah, no. Not unless you're Tyler Durden, but yeah.
Yeah, me and Tyler Durden being Tyler Durden or whatnot, but just the way I see she goes and shoots people, she shoots Kai in the leg. Kai is obviously okay. Ivy is sitting on it the whole time showing remorse, like, fuck, do I really want to do this? You can tell that she still has feelings for Allison, but if I was Allison, I'm like, bitch, get the fuck out. Like, I'd immediately say that, like, 100%. Yeah. That's just me, not to be offensive and say the word bitch and all that other stuff like that. But I'd be at that point, too, where I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with your shit. But at the same time, Harrison having an actual affair while married to Meadow, you could just tell Meadow, look, let's just end this marriage. It's not working.
Yeah, like, divorce is a thing. You're not trapped.
Yeah, you can be, if you fall in love with somebody, why would you cheat on her? Not only are you cheating on her, she's sex deprived. So it's like, here's the thing. Not only is Allie kind of like a gaslighting crazy woman, but Harrison...
Ivy,
right? These E's. Ivy. Not only is Ivy a gaslighting crazy woman, right? Harrison is just like, I'm gonna just get my rocks off. He's a typical man. Like, you want to say it. He's a typical man. Whereas, like, he'll how anybody else feels, I'm gonna do me and stuff like that, right? And then you look at, we didn't see much of Beverly, but the one thing that was very easily pointed out was that Beverly got a close-up of Kaya right before the shooting started. Ordered that. So it's like, so no matter what happens, the video evidence wouldn't be there. You know what I mean?
I know. So we'll have to see. I mean,
so there's all of that. It's such a loaded kind of deal with it. You know, you got a mommy war. You got Meadow, who's literally, you know, throwing the scent off of everything, you know, or intentionally putting the stink on everything so Allie can get imprisoned and Ivy can take Ozymandias and Kai has no opposition. Yeah. Right?
So, I mean, that's going to be, the next steps are going to be insane. Because, I mean, in the next episode, for those of you who didn't watch it, the preview was like, of these women in these cloaks, and they're going to kill Kai. It's just like, what is happening? Are we going to go off the rails again?
Is it a counter cult kind of deal? Because it's like, yeah, you know, that's some of the questions that, you know, lies in there. You know, Francis Conroy comes back next week, playing a new character. Lena Dunham is in next week's episode as well.
Oh, joy!
Yeah, right. Yeah, Lena Dunham is in. I'm sorry. Yeah, I like that reaction though. I kind of also co-sign that reaction as well.
Good. So get on with the train.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, and this is just, you know, I want to just wrap it up so I don't take too long. This show is actually really fantastic in a way that, the way it just puts on and the way it just like executes itself, and it executes very well.
I definitely think we should watch Roanoke together. Yes. And sort of talk about the differences, because it's a very different show. Mm-hmm. I feel like this show is just an exercise in hopelessness. Like every time you think Allie's getting a step further to like figuring this out and making sure the cult doesn't murder more people, it's like, just kidding, more death, like more twists, more turns.
Right. So that's the beautiful thing about it. But go ahead.
I truly believe that this of the show falls behind a lot of other seasons of the show.
Right.
Because it fails to establish a central point. Like, what's the point? Right? Talk a lot about like fear and the changing political atmosphere and dealing with phobias and blah blah blah, but like, what the fuck is the point? Like, what? Like, there's no narrative buildup because there's no real foundation.
It's literally just quick fire, bang, 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 everything in your face.
And I mean, you know, there can be something terrifying about sort of that quick succession horror where it's just like, oh, you know, coming at you at all angles and you don't know what's happening. But the problem is, that's fine for a movie. But for a TV show that is, you know, it's like a seasonal anthology, there needs to be some sort of narrative cohesion to tie this shit all together. And all I'm getting from this is that fear. That's it. All I'm getting is that, like, politics motivated by fear is a powerful thing. But it doesn't give you anything. And that, to me, is ultimately a problem. I don't know if they're going to be able to solve the problem, because they really should have started setting this up. Because I think it's because they got all conflated with Allie's phobias versus the political climate and fear.
Yes.
If they had focused on one or the other, then they would have had, like, you know, at least just more decidedly, instead of the sort of 50-50 crap they did. Mm-hmm. It would have made for a stronger narrative.
Yes.
And I think we would have been less frustrated with it at the beginning.
Well, also, I want to point something out, because let's take a look at the Nielsen ratings. Now, granted, ladies and gentlemen, I, you know, echo one of my friends in the other side of my life wrestling business, Doug Lackey, basically saying there's not reliable right now because of DVR being a thing. But let's take a look at the rating share for at least 18 to 49 from election night, where it was a 2.0 rating share. And with 4 million viewers, you saw a near 2 million viewer drop from episode 1 to episode 2, and it's been a very steady decline until about episode 5. And then episode 5 comes in, and episode 6 so far only has 2.15 million. So there's been a steady decline in terms of the show. I mean, and you want to look at the viewers per episode, obviously Freak Show being the most watched, American Horror Story season.
Which is, I mean, to be fair, it's the most aesthetically, I think with Asylum and A Coven, that season was the most aesthetically interesting.
Yes.
But given all that, I definitely think this story would have benefited from a stronger through plot line. And it just doesn't have that. And because of that, it just doesn't feel quite right. So even though it's finally, I feel like we're getting swept up because it's just yeah, finally, something's happening.
But the overall problems are still there. Are they as bad now? I would say no, but they're still there. And if they don't fix it soon, granted, we do have about 5 more episodes to go, and don't get me wrong, I'm also kind of looking forward to episode number 9, which will be directed by, the lovely Angela Bassett. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that. I want to see what she does with that. But other than that, there's nothing that can save this unless things pick up in these next 5 episodes.
Yep. So, Clinton, any last thoughts before we send them on their way?
Can we not have Lena Dunham in this next episode? Please?
No, fortunately, we have to have Lena Dunham in the episode.
Damn it!
Because Ryan Murphy loves her so much. I keep seeing commercials for the death of Versace, and I'm just because I watched American Crime Story, the O.J. Simpson one, and I was I'm into it.
I feel like shit for not watching that because I was all into the O.J. Simpson case when I was a kid.
Yeah, I was too young. I don't remember it. I don't remember the big case that I remember was the Michael Jackson case.
Yeah, that was around the same time Sonic 3 came out, and there's a whole story behind that.
Oh boy, but we'll deal with that another day. So all I can tell you, listeners, is that we are currently on the roller coaster. I don't know where this ride's getting off, but I'm starting to get a little dizzy. So let's see how this pans out next week. So until then, we'll see you in this den of nightmares next time. And
don't forget about the other podcasts on the Outerhaven.
I always forget them, but no, I got this. There you go.
This. Go ahead. You got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this podcast, you should check out all of the other wonderful podcasts from the Outerhaven. That includes the A1 podcast, the Nintendo Entertainment podcast, Sony-centric Xbox Experience, War on Infinite Panels. I'm trying to think if there's any more.
Anime? Did you get A1 already?
A1 now? I did A1.
A1, Sony-centric, War on Infinite Panels, Nintendo Entertainment podcast, Xbox Experience. Forgot about one more. Reaction Theater.
That's our YouTube channel, first of all. Second of all.
You're right. But, I mean...
The listeners are discerning. Yes, you should check out our YouTube for Reaction Theater. You should also go to our website, theouterhaven.net, to check out everything you need for news on anime, video games, television, films, anything and everything that you could possibly want, and more. And don't forget to check out the YouTube article. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Basically, every
YouTube roundup.
See, there you go. The YouTube roundup where all of the different writers, including myself and Clinton, submit a video weekly and tell you why it's worth watching. It is definitely a great way to not only get to know us better, but to broaden your YouTube viewing habits, which, if you're like me, is probably a good thing.
And you want to pimp out, and I'm going to pimp out Sarah's, This Week in Geek Entertainment. Make sure you check that out. You get all your trailers in one. You get all your anime news, geek news, TV news, all of that stuff, and your trailers all in one lovely post on Sunday evening. So, you want to go to bed on Sunday evening, what happened during the week? Check that out.
So now, for real this time, we'll see you in the next episode.